Hey folks, what's going on? Welcome to the next episode of our Coach Gav podcast. So today I want to talk to you about how having a goal can have many different approaches to it. And it's neither a case of what's right nor wrong. It's a case of what's the best thing to do in that moment in time. So this morning I wanted to make a coffee. Normally I'll just grab a jar of instant, use the kettle, mix it, problem solved. I like it, gets the job done, and tastes fine. Unfortunately, we're all out and payday's tomorrow. So I said I would just use this contraption here that my wife and daughters love. So to make a coffee with this, so the goal is making a coffee. Okay? Ideally, I would like to do it this way. This is a very straightforward way. It's a very simplistic way. It's not overly complicated. It's easy to replicate. And I know within reason I'm going to get the same results or the same level of progress, achieve the same goal each time with it. Every so often though, you might need to do something that's a little complex, that's a little more detail orientated. To make my coffee with this morning, had to realise I had a skill set issue. I didn't know how to operate the machine. So then I rang the expert, my wife. So then she was trying to explain on the phone. So there's a door here, had to take something from that. There is settings up here I had to do. Then there was there's an attachment on the side, had to put on the top of it. Then once I had the attachment on, it went under here to grind the beans. Had to change the level or the degree of it. There's another little button here on the side to do that. Once I had that done, I had to take this little yolk out and squish all the beans down. Then when I had that bit done, it went up in here. Had to wrestle it into it. After that, I got an engineering degree and then made the coffee. And after all that, there was still so little in the cup, I still had to boil the kettle anyways to add to it. But after all of that, I have my cup of coffee. I have achieved the goal. And ultimately, that's what matters, isn't it? It's the achievement of the goal. It's the making of progress. It's the failing forward that we're looking to achieve, more so than I can't be it's not wise to be married to any particular method so that this is the only way I want to do it. I want to achieve my goal, but I only want to do it this way. And it's not impossible. You can be a case of, well, I only want to do it that way. But at a certain stage, either that's not going to be an option and you have to do something differently, or your reliance on doing something a certain way, of achieving a goal a certain way, living a certain way, means perfect, you won't achieve the goal. And either decision we have to be fine with. Where so often we see and hear, and I've dealt with people where they're like, and I have done it myself over time, where we're so insistent on everything being done a certain way. And we've mentioned before on TikTok, previous episodes, where the greatest ability we all have as people in life is flexibility. So flexibility, not just from a physical perspective, obviously, but from a mental and emotional point of view as well with it. And something I thought of this morning, bringing Mila to school, was, you know what? Sometimes we as adults, we as more developed, more mature people, we need to be. It's not always like an even split. So where, let's say in a conversation where it's 50-50, where each party is as mature, logical, reasonable as one another. Sometimes you do need to be I'll be the mature one because you bloody well won't. And in the interest of achieving a goal, getting stuff done, you need to carry the brunt of it. And every so often that'll flip flop and you'll get percentages that'll vary from either of them along the way with it. And then that'll be the case of, so let's say with my youngest, with Mila, this needs to be the split. I need to be, the calm one, the voice of reason, letting things go, be the bigger person. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. It can be tough but as I go up through the kids that I deal with, so as I get to Freya, our next girl up in her teens, this split, most of the times, we still need to be the voice of reason, the logical one, that kind of stuff. But every so often that can change. This could be 80-20, where there's maturity, reason, logic on both sides. And because she is now at a more advanced stage in life, it is. Then we go up to Rocky, our next one up. Rocky's nearly 23 now. So again, Rocky has lived more life than Freya. So more often than not, that 20 should be, or ideally would be a 30 or a 40. And then this would be a 60, 70. And what I mean by that then is that when there's planning or discussions or anything kind of going on, that there is, everyone's contributing. Everyone is contributing to the maturity of the situation, to the progress with it. And then you keep going up. Shan's 24. So again, like that, has lived more than Rocky, has lived more than Freya. So again, she can contribute more in the scenarios. Then I go up, then myself, Yolanda. Again, we've lived more. And even at that, it's not necessarily 50-50. There is still times where one of us needs to be the bigger person either. And more often than not, it's Yolanda letting stuff I say go, and me letting stuff she gets worked up about go. And that's how you achieve harmony. That is, it's like yin and yang. So the whole idea of that yin and yang is, I should have prepared this earlier. It's the combination of both. It's the light and the dark and the dark and the light. And it's a balance between it is achieved to achieve harmony. And that's kind of what we're looking for with it. So, and again, and like that, we spoke initially about how when you're trying to achieve a goal, there is very straightforward ways and there's slightly more detailed, complex ways. And after today, looking at coffee, I now know I can do it either way. I would prefer to do it this way because I just do. However, I know that if this isn't an option, I can achieve it this way either as well. And that's where we are looking at things from trying to fit in the fitness goals with balancing family and life goals, where we need to, again, I train a lot in the kitchen. Like yesterday was an absolute shit show in work. Like just an absolute disaster. I ran late. I'm not in the office till Saturday, so I had to get a load of stuff done before then. So I ended up running late yesterday, and then my plan was I'd hop on a spin bike after, get that done, and then I would train at home today and tomorrow and so on and so forth. That then rang late, the boss wanted me to have a chat, and then so that went on, so that ate up my time. So I had a choice whether I would stay and spin and be late and have less time coming home to see the girls before bedtime. I said, no, screw this. So I went and then had to pick up bread and milk. Obviously forgot to pick up coffee. And then it was a knock on. And I was like, you know what, I would much rather having a tough day to be tougher than to let it spiral over into today. So when I go home last night, Yolanda put Miley to bed, and then I did a really basic quick session just to train, just to kind of get a bit of movement in it. I also felt better after that as well. We'll discuss later on about how to change your mental state, you need to change your physical state, and how the two are interconnected with it. So it's there's a phrase we kind of go by where you can be right or you can be free. So you can be right from the point of view of, and this more so applies to conversations, ideas. You can be right as in like, I'm going to stand my ground. This is what I believe in. This is what. Effectively, you're trying to convince the other person to come see things from your way, as opposed to being free, where you can make your point, but then ultimately not dig your heels in. And that's not a case of being a pushover or a brushover. It's a case of, I just want to fight a different fight. I want to put my energy elsewhere, because wherever our attention goes, our energy will go in that direction, and that's also where we will see growth and results. The same is true for positive and negative things. If our attention is on a positive thing, our focus is on a positive thing, our attention is on a positive thing, our energy is on a positive thing, then our results will go in that direction. So what we have in life, what we can do in life, who we have in our life, anything positive, focus on that. And that's not denying that there's negatives going on. That's not denying that there is hard times and bad times and tough things and mean people and things that, that was a bit hurtful. But if our sole focus is on the negative and on the bad and on the, why always me? This always happens to me. I can't get a break. I'm not lucky. Fucking, I'm the whipping boy, blah, blah, blah. And I used to have that nonsense, and I realise now it's a nonsense mindset where I used to think I was like the black sheep of my family. But that's the funny thing, I taught it. It was a thought I had in my head. But when I challenged that thought eventually, I had no actual proof of it. There was no factual evidence of it. If anything, it was the opposite. Not quite the golden sheep, but I mean, certainly protected by the rest of the herd, looked after by the rest of the herd. And that's the thing, when we have a thought, there needs to be fact to support it. And so much time there is thought with no fact. However, there's thought with no fact, resulting in real consequences. We joke about it now, but Yolanda had a dream years ago that I had played away, and then she was mad at me in real life for something that happened in her dreams. So something that she thought happened, even though it wasn't real and there was no facts. Now it lasted. We all had laughing now, but that's what we're trying to say is where, and it is tough. It's tough where, when you're trying to balance the books financially at home, when you're trying to, raise kids, you're trying to equip them, you're trying to give them the tools to get through life as best they can, because we as parents are effectively stabilizers for our children, where we give support and balance and let them develop their skills, and then slightly less support and balance, and then they're on their own and we're just behind them to pick up the pieces when we have to. So the mindset is a massive thing here, and having had a negative mindset and now having a positive mindset, more positive than not. And again, that's another side of it too, where you play the percentages. I'm not 100% positive 100% of the time. I will have variations and fluctuations. My big thing is that if I find I'm heading in a negative direction with a thought or with a conversation, and I've often done this in work with it, where if I see a I'm like, okay, right, okay, what do I need to do to make this better? What do I need to do to solve this? So you stop what you're at and then try and come back up off it as well, and then move on. And that is what a lot of life is. It's not always ups and ups and ups. It's turning downs into ups And there will be far more of them because there's just so much out there that you're trying to compete against. So by having, like, from the moment you wake up and you go throughout your day, there's just so many different people you encounter, situations you go through that require you to have a good mindset. And like that, if you come into a mindset with, if you come into a scenario with an open mindset, with a good mindset, it starts you off on the right foot. And we've a visual thing I'm going to try and do here one day where we talk about the effects of positive and negative on the mind. So if you were to imagine, we'll get that display right, it'll be in the next episode. So to kind of wrap up this one here is understand that having a goal, achieving what matters most, achieving the goal or achieving it in the way you wanted to achieve it. And sometimes you can do it in a straightforward manner. Sometimes, what a time to get dry-eyed. Sometimes you can do it in a straightforward manner. Sometimes it needs to be more detail orientated. And ultimately, if you find you're always having to be the bigger person, or you're always having to be more mature or let things go, isn't that a blessing? Isn't that a very fortunate thing to do, where you have the awareness and the growth to realize, hey, I can make this situation better by just letting it slide, and then grand. And if it's something real serious, it might be a case of letting it slide in the moment and then coming back and having a discussion about it ultimately later on. Folks, I hope you're enjoying the podcast and all the content we're getting out there. Working on the book, we have a potential cover, and we're filling it out as we go along. So drop a comment, share it around. You never know who will benefit from this. And if you're listening on iTunes, drop us a subscribe, just it'll help boost the numbers and share it around and start messing with algorithms and all that kind of stuff that's way beyond my pay grade. Take it easy, folks. God bless.